Been working on a translation of the Bhagavad Gita. I'm almost finished. It's going to be out on November 5th. I've been doing these videos recently. I've done about probably 7 or 8 videos now where I've looked at different verses in the Gita, and I've looked at how different translators translate these verses. Today we're once again going to look at 18 different translations of a single verse, and the verse that I have for us today is verse 9, chapter 9, verse, here we go, 20, oh man, I lost it. Let's go back. 23, 9:23. Okay, so shloka 23 in chapter 9. I'm going to read the verse in Sanskrit. Then we're going to do like a word for word translation of the shloka, and then that'll be my translation, and then we're going to go through the other translations, 17 other translations. I'm not set on my translation. I'm most concerned about this avidhi-pūrvaka, the phrase avidhi-pūrvaka. How do people translate that? And that's really the most challenging thing, I think, in this verse to translate. So we're going to see how people are translating that. Almost everything else in the verse is pretty self-explanatory, although there are some variations, as we'll see in what people say. But let's go through it. Here we go. Ye pyanya-devatā-bhaktā yajante śhraddhayā-anvitā tepi mam eva kaunteya yajantyavidhi-pūrvakam. All right. Api bhaktā, even those devotees. Bhakta would be devotees. Api, even those devotees, or even the devotees. Ye, who, anya, other, devata, gods, yajante, they worship. Even those devotees who worship other gods, so the devas are the gods, right? Śhraddhayā-anvitā, with faith, right? Accompanied by faith. Anvitā means accompanied by. Śhraddhayā, with faith is shraddha, right? Shraddha, with faith, accompanied by faith. Te api, te is they, right? Api, you might say api is used a lot in the Gita. It's kind of a filler word. So is eva. They also, so this would be like also. Te api, they also. Mam yajanti, they also worship me. Arjuna, son of Kunti, a kaunteya, but not by the prescribed method, avidhi-pūrvaka. So that's what I have right now, right? So even those devotees who worship other gods with faith, they also worship me, Arjuna, son of Kunti, but not by the prescribed method. Now, I'm not completely happy with that, with the not by the prescribed method, because it's a little bit weird, and it's a little bit like, I mean, it's not bad. So what did Winthrop Sargent? I largely used his translation. So what did he have? He said, even those who worship other gods with faith also worship me, Arjuna, same, though they do so in ignorance. Avidhi-pūrvaka. They do so in ignorance. Okay, so that's his. And I'm not sure where he, I'd have to look at what he, let me see, avidhi-pūrvaka. Let's look very quickly here. What he had, 23. He has avidhi-pūrvakam, not according to rule, in the absence of fixed rules. So he actually has in his interpretation of the word avidhi-pūrvakam, he has not according to rule, in the absence of fixed rules, but then he translates this in ignorance. So I'm not sure why, because I noticed that he did that a lot in his translation, is that like he had a certain way of translating a word in his sidebar, but then in the actual translation he actually changes it. I'm not sure why, and sometimes I do that too, but probably a lot of translators do that. They kind of like paraphrase it. So I think that's what he does there, to make it more understandable. They do so in ignorance. Okay, so let's see what other people say. So that's avidhi-pūrvaka. O son of Kunti, Swami Mukundananda, O son of Kunti, even those devotees who faithfully worship other gods also worship me, but they do so by the wrong method. Right? And I had not by the prescribed method. It's basically the same thing. Method, the word method. Right? They do so by the wrong method. Now, what does method mean? They're worshiping with faith. I think the idea, you would think the idea is, it's not that they're doing the wrong method, it's just that they've chosen the wrong God, right? They're not worshiping the right God. How is that the wrong method? Right? Shivananda, Swami Shivananda, even those devotees who endow with faith worship other gods worship me only, O Arjuna, but by the wrong method, exclamation point. Same thing as Mukundananda, except he has the exclamation point. I'm not sure why he put that, but Swami Nikhilananda, even those devotees who endow with faith worship other gods worship me alone, O son of Kunti, though in a wrong way. So the word wrong is used here quite often by Mukundananda. Shivananda had wrong. He has wrong way as opposed to wrong method. So, all right. So let's see what else. See what other people say. Bhavavad.org. I'm not sure who did this translation, but it says, "O Arjuna, those who worship devotedly different demigods." So now it's translating the devata as demigods. Although faithfully, they also worship me only, but in an unauthorized manner. It's an interesting translation, right? Unauthorized manner. Now, we could also ask, is this talking about gods of other religions or just in the Vedic pantheon of gods, right? One would think it would be just talking about the Vedic pantheon, right? But is this referring to other gods as well? And we could also say, if Adonai or Yahweh in the Bible had said this, it would be incredible, if God says, well, other people are worshiping me as well, right? They're just doing the wrong way. And by the way, you should wipe them out. wipe them off the face of the earth. Right? Do away with the idol worshippers. Whereas this seems a little bit more like, yeah, they're also worshiping me. They're not too bad, really. They're kind of on the right. They're on the right track, but they're just using the wrong method. And you don't need to wipe them out, but you just, they're just a little bit clueless. Mataji Parama Karuna Devi has, O Arjuna, those devotees who worship the devas. So she doesn't translate devas here. Those devotees who worship the devas separately with that faith are actually worshiping me only, but they're acting in a way that is not in accordance with the proper knowledge. So this is a better translation, I think, because this is kind of like saying what I was saying, which is they just don't know who to really worship, right? They don't know who the supreme deity is. They just don't know. All right. Swami Tadatmananda, even those devoted to other gods who worship with faith, they also worship me, Arjuna, though not according to rules. I don't think that's a very good one. They're all pretty much, the wrong method, the wrong way, not according to rules, not the prescribed method. They're all not great, But I think that might be one of the less good ones that we've looked at so far. Shankara, I found Shankara's commentary, and so this is what I found for Shankara. Even those who devoted to other gods worship them with faith, worship myself, O son of Kunti, in ignorance. So he has what Winthrop Sargent, or Winthrop Sargent used what Shankara has. So he might have been using, Winthrop Sargent might have been using Shankara in doing his translation. And maybe ignorance is the best translation. I might even use that myself. I might change it to that. But if you really want to translate avidhi-pūrvakam, then avidhi-pūrvaka, then you might want to, if you want to translate exactly what that is saying, then you might not want to say in ignorance, unless you want to paraphrase it, which is fine. But if you want to give a more exact translation, then you might want to translate what it actually means. What does avidhi-pūrvaka mean? So, okay, B.G. Narasingha, O kaunteya, those that worship other demigods, the devas, with faith actually worship me, but they do so improperly. Okay, so that's not bad. It's not bad. O Arjuna, supremeknowledge.org, even the devotees who worship other gods with faith, they also worship me only, but that worship of theirs is contrary to the rule, that is against the scriptures. So it's against the scriptures. So this makes it sound, it slightly changes the meaning. This makes it sound more of an offense, right? This makes it sound like, yeah, they're worshiping me, but they're committing a crime, right, against the tradition in a way. They're doing it, with devotion, with faith, but because they're not doing it the right way, they're committing a crime, right? Committing a sin or doing something wrong. Sri Purohit Swami, even those who worship the lesser powers, this is different for devas. If they do so with faith, they thereby worship me, though not in the right way. Okay. Not in the right way. This is the first time we saw, wrong way. We saw the wrong way, but now we see not in the right way. It's basically the same thing, okay? Srila Prabhupada, whatever a man may sacrifice to other gods, O son of Kunti, is really meant for me alone, but it is offered without true understanding. Whatever a man may sacrifice to other gods. So this is not what this is, not literally what this is saying, right? Whatever a man, it doesn't say whatever a man may sacrifice to other gods. That's doesn't seem to be a correct translation of that. Because everyone has something different from what he says, right? He's the only one that has that particular translation. Now, maybe he knew something that other people did not know, but maybe he just got that one, was off on this one. But it is offered without true understanding. Whatever a man may sacrifice to other gods, it's not really that different though, It's really meant for me alone, but is offered without true understanding. Because it's worshipped, it's offered to the lesser deities, it's offered to the devas. Right. All right, let's see what Jeffrey Armstrong has. I've been saying that he seems to be in the same tradition as Srila Prabhupada, the Hare Krishna Bhakti tradition, like that tradition. You see, Arjuna, even though they may not understand the entire process, those make offerings of devotion to the devas are also indirectly giving those offerings to me. Now, this is a nice way of translating it. In a way, he's kind of building upon Prabhupada's, because he's talking about the offering, right? Because it doesn't say making offering, it just says worshiping other gods. But he understands it as they make offerings, which is probably more or less the same thing anyway. And it's kind of a nice way of saying, even those who are worshiping other gods, they're really indirectly, they just don't understand. They're not quite there yet. They're really serving me, but they think they're serving these other gods, but they're only serving aspects of me, which are these other gods, and because I'm the supreme, and it's a free translation, right? He definitely kind of did like a, definitely a paraphrase, free translation. So same with Anya-devatā has those who worship other gods with faith and devotion also worship me, Arjuna, even if they do not observe the usual forms. Now this goes even further than Armstrong, because this is definitely more ecumenical. This is more like, you could worship any god, and you're still worshiping Krishna, even if you're worshiping Allah or Jehovah, or you have it, whatever it may be. So he seems to be changing the meaning, right? But he's updating it, and so the question is, he's like updating it for modern sensibility. It's saying, because we, in the West, we would be more like, this is the way we would tend to want to think about it. Is we would tend to think about this as that everyone who's worshiping whatever god or whatever religion they have, if they're sincere, and if they're doing it with faith and devotion, then there's not a problem, right? They're still worshiping the supreme, even if they don't observe the usual forms of worshiping Krishna. They're still worshiping Krishna, right? So I like his translation in that regard, and it's kind of, Jeffrey Armstrong was kind of going there too, it seems, but Anya-devatā really went further with that. Jayadaya Goyanka has Arjuna, even those devotees who endowed with faith worship other gods, and then he has in parentheses, with some interested motive, meaning that if you worship other gods, you don't do it, you have some selfish interest, you have some selfish motive. Worship me alone, though with a mistaken approach, right? Because they have that motive. So this makes it more clear. What he added there makes it more clear that the reason why they have a mistaken approach is because they're offering to these other gods with some selfish desire, right? They have a selfish desire, whereas when you worship Krishna, you let go of all desires, right? That's true devotion. So that's a nice one in terms of like trying to clarify what the wrong method is. What does it mean to have a not prescribed method or a wrong method? This kind of makes sense of that. Sri Swami Atmananda has Arjuna, when someone worships God with devotion, even without following the correct procedure, he actually worships me only. So this is, again, this is like Anya-devatā. It is more, it rings true to our modern egalitarian ecumenical sensibilities. When we see something like that, it's like, yeah, everyone who's sincere in their devotion is really worshiping the supreme, even if they don't do the right, even if they don't follow the right rules, even of their own rules, they're really worshiping me, right? So this is putting the focus now on the sincerity of the devotee, the faith and the sincerity, which I like that, and I think that might be what Krishna is getting at here with this verse. Is he's pointing to what is important. It's your faith, your devotion, right? That's the śhraddha is the important part. Even if you use the wrong method, you're doing it right? You're still worshiping me, even if you do it wrong. Nay, and of hearts which follow other gods in simple faith, this is Sir Edwin Arnold, the last one. Nay, and of hearts which follow other gods in simple faith, their prayers arise to me, O Kunti's son, though they pray wrongfully. This is the same thing as what we've been seeing in these last ones, which is they may be doing it wrong, but if they're sincere, it reaches me, right? So But is that what the verse actually says, is the question, right? That's a beautiful sentiment. And I think many people would find that to be, the way that they would like to read this. But is that what it's really saying? So, api-bhaktā, even those devotees, anya-devatā yajante, who worship other gods, with faith, śhraddhayā-anvitā, they also worship me. Te api mam yajanti, Arjuna son of Kunti, kaunteya, but not by the prescribed method. Avidhi-pūrvaka. So I might change mine, right, to be more, but I want to look up what does avidhi mean and what does pūrvaka mean. So let's look that up right now. Before we close out here, let's see what we find for avidhi. See what we can find real quickly here. Avidhi is a Sanskrit compound consisting of the terms a and vidhi, against the rule. No rule against the rule. Okay, pūrvaka. What is pūrvaka? I think I looked this up before, but I'm looking it up again. Sanskrit word pūrvapakṣa, pūrvaka, being accompanied with, okay? So accompanied by the wrong method. Okay, so all right, so this is what I would say. Api could be also, it could be also, but it could be even. So you could read this as te api mam yajante, they even worship me, even if they use the not prescribed method, right? So I like that. I think that could be, you could read this that way, right? You could read this verse that way, and I think I'm going to go with that. So would love to hear your thoughts, would love to hear your commentary, comments, feedback on this. I'm glad I did this because I think this makes more sense of this verse now, and I think I'm in good company when I translate it that way. I like the way Eknathaswaran did it, and some other people seem to get more of closer to the real heart of it. So, all right. Thanks, and Hari Om Tat Sat.